What's up? Welcome in. Hoge Jahns with you. Merry Christmas, everyone. We're getting closer. Bears and Bills this weekend. What's up, Johnsy?
What's going on? Merry Christmas, everybody. I do believe we have a few children that listen to this, so I hope you're being good. Listening to that elf that's roaming around your house in the middle of the night, hopping from tree to fireplace to what have you.
You know what I have to say? That is one thing we have avoided completely in our house. I don't really know how. It's not even on purpose, but never have done the elf on the shelf thing. I don't even think James knows what that is.
Good.
Which is good. But for the children out there listening that are familiar with the elf on the shelf, watch out, right? I mean, that's how it came across when you said it.
I'm trying to be careful with my words, but yes, that elf on that shelf has a straight line of communication to the North Pole of Santa Claus. So you better watch out. You better not pout. That elf is telling Santa why. Look at that. You can't get that type of podcasting anywhere else when it comes to bears.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah. All right. Welcome in. We got another game this week. Also hope everybody's staying warm and avoiding the terrible 1 to 3 inches of snow that's coming.
The latest report from NWS Chicago. It's the North. What's the real name of this?
The National Weather Service. The North.
There is still potential
weather report.
Potential for 1 inch per hour. I don't know what we're gonna get. Who knows? I'm ready.
It's all right. Well,
we're fine.
We're gonna have Joe Buscaglia on here in a little bit. That guy knows snow. All right. In Buffalo, they know a little bit about snow. So he'll tell you everybody needs to settle down. We do this every year in Chicago. It is a Chicago tradition. Everyone freaks out about the first significant snowfall. Now, I will say it's going to be windy as hell. When it actually is snowing, I think it's going to actually look like a blizzard for a little bit. So everybody be safe on the roads and all that, especially if you're listening to this right now while it is snowing. Slow down, be careful. But at the same time, come on. We're better than this. We're better than this, Chicago.
What you have is the panic of the incoming snowstorm, blizzard, what have you, and the last-minute shoppers.
Yeah.
Where the two worlds are colliding at Target, Mariano's, Jewel Osco. It's a mess.
Yeah, I should have thought about that because I think everybody was thinking like me yesterday and was like, okay, snow tomorrow. We got to get this done today. It took me 25 minutes to check out a Target last night. It was crazy. So maybe it won't be that bad tonight, actually. Maybe tonight's the time to go.
Well, actually, if you're going out and you're in those lines, bring us with you. Put us on your phone.
That's
Pop
good.
Those AirPods in and let's go.
No, that's actually good advice because I spent about 3 hours probably doing shopping and
that's a long time.
Food for the weekend, and that whole time I didn't have my AirPods, and I was like, man, I could be multitasking right now.
Yeah.
I could be listening to the Buffalo Beat right now, the Athletics Bills podcast. Multitasking, getting some good information.
Prepping for this one.
Yeah, but I failed. All right, so don't be me. Do better than that. Welcome in. Follow us on Twitter at Adam Hoge, at Adam Jahns, and read us, theathletic.com/Hoge Jahns, allchgo.com for me. And all the merch is up at obviousshirts.com, like that orange hoodie Johnsy's wearing. Appreciate it, everybody, for jumping in on the merch and help spreading the word. So before we get into this game,
yeah.
I'm just confused by the Pro Bowl now. I got to be honest with you. It's not a game anymore. It's like a flag football contest.
It's the Pro Bowl games.
Okay. Is the voting different?
It might be. I don't track it closely enough.
Well, and we didn't really have reason to this year.
Correct. The Bears did not have one Pro Bowl player.
But how is your guy Kirk Cousins in the Pro Bowl?
Well, I think it's just another reminder. Well, I don't mind rewarding a winning team. Vikings are 11-3. They won the NFC North. They're going to the playoffs. They just had that amazing comeback victory against the Jeff Saturday Colts on a Saturday. So, like, that happened. Like, reward that. I have no problem with that. But
They
all
were
the
also
stuff.
down 33-0 to one of the most dysfunctional teams in the league right now.
I get it. They still won. 33. It's a historic comeback.
Yeah.
That's something. But all the star quarterbacks, man, are in the AFC. They just are. Like, without Aaron Rodgers pulling like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady not being exactly Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, well, now whatever version of Russell Wilson you're getting in Denver, there's the stars like Kyler Murray not having a good year, Matthew Stafford being hurt. All the good young star quarterbacks are on the AFC.
Well, how about Justin Fields? That's where you're just going. That's where you're just going to like the team record, because like nobody could possibly objectively look at Kirk Cousins versus Justin Fields and be like, yeah, Kirk Cousins is the better player.
He's a better passer. That's part of it. He's the better passer. Come on. At
Justin Jefferson is the better catcher. That's what I would say.
Well, that's fine. That's fair.
Anybody, and you know I have a lot of connections in Minnesota. They've been bitching about Kirk Cousins all year and bitching about this offense. And the stats show that. He ranks 19th in EPA per play right now on the 20th ranked DVOA offense. They haven't been that good offensively this year. They really haven't.
Where's the Bears at DVOA?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not even here to make a case for Justin Fields. You know who deserves it? You know who I would sit here and pound the table for over Kirk Cousins? 1,000%. Jared Goff.
Oh.
The Lions, I think, are 8th. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Goff's in the top 10
I'd
in
give you that
EPA
one.
per play. They're 6-1 in their last 7. They've turned things around. It's actually not even close if you look at it. Jared Goff deserves to be a Pro Bowler over Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. I'm looking at QBR right now. Jared Goff is 6th. Geno Smith is 5th. I think Geno Smith belongs in there, by the way.
I'm okay with Geno Smith.
Yeah. I know what you're saying about Kirk Cousins, but I do think, look, I would take Justin Fields over him in a heartbeat, obviously, but I don't mind giving the best team in the NFC North, the 11-3 Vikings, some form of representation in the Pro Bowl.
You mispronounced the Detroit Lions there. That was weird. The best team in the NFC North.
Ooh. Are the Lions no longer the Lions?
They showed it head up a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
They beat the Vikings. That's going to be interesting. I will say this, as much as we have kind of made fun of the Lions over the years, the Lions are the Lions.
Yes.
I want to see them get in the playoffs.
I do too.
I think it'd be fun, especially what it would take for them to get in. They would be 9-1 basically going into the playoffs. That's a dangerous team.
Yeah.
That's
won,
a dangerous
7 in a row?
They could potentially be playing the Vikings too.
I have one more Pro Bowl observation for you. Do you know who is representing the AFC at linebacker?
Roquan Smith.
What do you think about that?
Well, it's kind of the opposite thing as the quarterback, right? He had to leave the NFC to get in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been... Look, I'm going to be honest. I haven't watched every Ravens game since the trade. I know the times that they've been on TV, he's making plays. I know they're happy with him there.
Very
partially because of that nice story that Dan Pompei had on him last week. But to me, there's no question that before the trade, he was having his worst season as a Bear. But I think it's like you said, it's the availability of the slots, right? He's been buried behind the great linebackers in the NFC. We've pounded the table on this podcast saying how much he's been snubbed as a Pro Bowler year after year, All Pro. So he goes over to the AFC and he gets in. Good for him.
He is. Who's the other linebacker? I'm pulling this up right now. Roquan Smith and C.J. Mosley, former Raven.
Who are the linebackers for the NFC?
I am looking that up right now. I believe it's Fred Warner is one of them. Know this. I had
As
it
it
up
usually
last night.
is.
Well, the best defense in the league should be represented.
I wonder if Roquan will get that All-Pro honor this year because with Shaq Leonard
having that down year,
not
injured.
Even playing.
Yeah. The other middle linebacker, inside linebacker is Demario Davis of the Saints. Okay. Fred Warner, Demario Davis.
Yeah, maybe a different year he gets it with the Bears, but again, Bears are 3-11, about to be 3-12, right?
Should be.
Okay, podcast over. No point in talking about the. No, this will be just like last week. It's a tough game, but it should be a fun game. Josh Allen coming to town. It is going to be cold. I don't think it's not going to be snowy. It'll probably be a bright, sunny, freezing cold day.
It's the wind that gets you. It's the wind that gets you.
Yeah. I'm happy I'm not Mark Grody this week. I'll just say that.
Actually, a little preview for next week. I booked him for next Tuesday.
Did you?
Yes. I just want 10 minutes of him about how he survived on the sidelines.
Well, you're assuming he's going to survive.
Yes.
You might need to book a different guest on Tuesday.
I am. Very much true. But I'm legitimately entertained. I was talking to him in the media room at Hallis Hall yesterday, and I was seriously asking him questions about how he's going to handle this. I'm entertained by this. I don't know why I'm entertained by this, because I'll be sitting comfortably indoors. But
yeah, and me too.
Probably why I am actually.
I'm just picturing us turning on the Zoom camera on Tuesday and him like having a blanket around him, drinking tea, sounding like
cheeks are still red, just getting over some minor frostbite.
No voice because he's got pneumonia.
We should not be laughing about this. But
no, but
it's gonna make for some great podcasting.
Oh, if that's the case, he'll lean into it. That's the great thing about Grody. So, all right. Well, another guy knows a little bit something about cold and snow is Joe Buscaglia, who covers the Buffalo Bills. He's been on the pod a bunch, actually, this year in 2022, going all the way back to last January when we thought the Bears might go after Joe Shane and Brian Dable from Buffalo. They ended up going to New York, obviously, with the Giants. And then we also talked to Joe in the summer to our big quarterback episode as we trying to draw the parallels with Justin Fields. Joe was on, and now it makes sense to bring him back on to talk about the Bills. So here he is, Joe Buscaglia. What's up, Joe?
Not too much, guys. Thanks for having me. I love coming on your show. I feel like we always have like these lengthy, like big picture conversations. First it was Dable and Shane. That didn't happen. Then it was the Fields conversation. And it's been really cool to kind of watch from afar because I follow you guys and all your work and seeing what has happened, the trajectory of Fields so far through this season. It's been pretty cool to see after being on the ground floor, so to speak, in the preseason.
Now we're just going to talk about the weather for 20 minutes. That's okay.
I've been talking about the weather for like a month straight here.
So that's okay.
Yeah.
And Johns, we got into this Tuesday. I'm embarrassed for the Midwest right now. I have to say, this freak out over this snowstorm. I'm checking it this morning. It says 1 to 3 inches now. Who cares about this? This is, we're better than this. And Joe, you probably, I could see in your background, you guys have already gotten how much snow have you already gotten this year?
Okay, so the first storm, which caused the Browns game to move to Detroit, I live about 5 minutes from where the Bills play. We got a legitimate 6 feet of snow that within a 24-hour span. It was something I've never seen before. I had to go on my patio roof and shovel it twice, and there was like 3 feet of snow on there the first time. It was wild. Let's see, it probably got another foot or so of snow after the Miami game. So yeah, we're up near about 7.5 feet.
You have
at this
one of
point.
those roof rake shovels then?
No, we just bought our house in the spring, and I'm like, oh, okay, we'll just try to limp into it. And like the first snowstorm we got was the 6-footer, which was the biggest snowstorm in 24 hours in New York State history. I'm like, well, at least a little bit trial by fire here at this point.
Trial by
Okay,
snow.
Okay, now so 6 feet is a snowstorm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's more than a snowstorm. That's an abomination.
Yes. Okay. But my point is this 1 to 3 inches now we're talking about here. I know it's going to get cold. It's going to be windy, but come on. This is not.
I think all the newscasters around here have to retire that stupid European model like they use like earlier in the week.
Oh, you're anti-European model.
No more European model. It's
Okay.
always higher than the other model, which I guess we should call the American model. Always by like 2 or 3 inches, and it makes things sound worse.
The funniest part about all this is that you guys are not going to get a ton of snow, and like we're scheduled to get like a foot or two in over the weekend. So I mean, and 65-mile-an-hour winds on Friday and Saturday, I think it is. So yeah, fun times.
And that's
Buffalo.
why the Bills are coming tonight, right?
Yeah.
Because they're trying to get ahead of what's actually going to hit Buffalo.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a mess here on Friday night. Like the temperature's dropping from 45 to 15 within like an hour or something. It's just going to be like an ice mess. Yeah, it's a great winter here in Buffalo so far.
So will they stay here Saturday night then into Christmas?
I would doubt it. I think they'll probably go back because the storm is supposed to be done. Like the blizzard warning we have is done at Sunday at 7 a.m. I would imagine they just go home right from Chicago.
Yeah, I would think so too. Get home probably in time for,
if there's
Christmas Eve fun by the time they get back. It's a short flight.
I learned this covering the Blackhawks that chartered flights like that have different rules than the rest of us who want to fly commercial.
Oh yeah.
Where we were stuck in Columbus a night. Even the Hawks were grounded in Columbus a night. So they practiced the next morning after a game. And the only flight they got into O'Hare that next day, I think we got about 5 feet of snow or 3 feet of snow the day prior, was the Chicago Blackhawks flight. And they took the beat writers, lucky us, on board. There's also like no rules. Like this,
yeah, like
sit
they just
down
land. Did they just land that flight right on Madison Avenue, right next to the United Center too?
Yeah, they're like serving food. You open up the overhead compartments. There's like licorice for like everybody. Like Marion Host is walking down the aisle, like opening up like candy dispensers that are in the overhead like compartments. Like a whole different way of traveling.
There's also no cell phone rule. People don't give a
crap. They don't sit down.
They don't give a crap about seatbelts. I mean, it's nonsensical.
Guys get their own rows.
Trays down. No, yeah, you can keep your seats back. Yeah,
there's actually like a buffet of food like in the exit row. I'm not lying about this.
Yeah. All right, Joe.
Anyway,
I am curious, Joe, from your outsider, since you touched on it off the top, your outsider view of what you've seen from Justin Fields since we talked to you back in August, and we were trying to make the, draw any comparisons we possibly could to Josh Allen's development in Buffalo. What have you seen? What have you been impressed by?
Well, I've been impressed by the way that the Bears have kind of opened up their offense around him, because it seemed like for a while, just reading you guys, listening to you guys from afar, it was like, okay, they are just completely rejecting the notion of utilizing his legs, which makes him such a dynamic asset. And going back and watching the last couple of games, which see with him in the lineup, seeing him and how he's able to make defenders miss has been really interesting to watch. The accuracy still isn't like crazy great. Like the ball placement hasn't been, at least from what I saw, the ball placement hasn't been awesome, but it wasn't like that for Josh Allen in his first couple of years either. So there are ways to fix your overall accuracy. The other thing that kind of stands out is that he just has no help around him. Like the offensive line is horrendous for the most part. The receivers aren't gaining separation, at least the current iteration of receivers. So I am very interested to see how they build around him in the offseason, because that was such a huge part of how Josh Allen kind of made the jump, because they gave him John Brown, they gave him Cole Beasley in his third season. No, it was his second season that they gave him those guys. And then the third season, that's when they gave him Stephon Diggs. And that's when his game totally jumped in the COVID year of 2020. And they were just unstoppable on offense. So I really want to see how Poles and the entire Chicago Bears operation build around him, and what they value above all else. In terms of receivers, what will maximize his skill set, and maybe where they want him to progress the most as a quarterback.
What do you remember about Allen, like at this point in 2019? Because you look at the Bears, the 3-11, clear rebuild here, but the Bills that year finished 10-6. I know the numbers weren't great for Allen, like throughout, and there were some bad games late, but like take us through that, like that record, and like Allen's place in it.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely still his wild stallion self, where he was taking over games occasionally. I remember there was one watershed game for him. It was on Thanksgiving. You guys might even remember this, against the Cowboys in Dallas. He just completely took over that game in a way that I've never seen him do it. And that was late in the season. And seeing that sort of capability from him in, a pretty high pressure situation, because we hadn't seen him do that on that national of a stage at that point, because the Bills back then were okay, Sunday at 1 p.m. type of team. Now they're, hey, Thursday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday even. But back then it definitely took a step forward. He wasn't all the way there. He certainly had some things he needed to fine tune, which was his ball placement, giving his receivers the ability to operate with yards after the catch. At that point, cover zero, all out blitzes were still giving him a lot of trouble. And he needed to conquer that. He wasn't manipulating zone defenders as well as he does today, or as well as he did in his third season, or he learned to. So those were things that he needed to conquer, but the raw skills and the signs and the flashes became more common than not. And he wasn't the guy who was throwing it across his body to the other team anymore. He was the guy who was within himself, and sometimes making those dumb decisions, but for the most part, not. And what I remember the most from that 2019 year, because that was the year that they lost to the Texans in the wild card round, that crazy one where Deshaun Watson made the stupid play where he spun out of the tackle and they score a touchdown. That game, it almost seemed like the moment was too big for him, because he went back to those old rookie mistakes a lot more often when things got really pressurized, and he had to learn from that. So I am interested to see how Fields does it. He's not going to face any pressure situations. I almost feel like where Fields is right now, like his rookie year doesn't even count. And where the Bears and Fields are right now are where the Bills were in Josh Allen's rookie season, where the talent around him was just crap. And, they had to build through the offseason to really maximize this guy. So I do wonder what they have in store for Fields in the offseason.
Well, it is interesting because you're right. I mean, it's not like the stakes are that high right now. However, the Bears have played in a ton of close games.
They're good on film. Like they don't have a ton of talent, but like they play really hard.
Well, and I think that's one of the reasons why. What's the spread at 8.5? Or
it's gone down to 8 today, from what I saw.
And you would think that this might have been one of those games where it's more like Bills favored by 14 or something. But part of that is because the Bears are playing a lot of these teams tight. And so I think the one thing for Fields is he has played in a lot of he's had the ball in the fourth quarter in almost every game with a chance to do something. And it hasn't always worked out, but I don't know, maybe that'll help him in the future. What is Josh Allen's relationship like with Sean McDermott? Because there's kind of a similar dynamic there, I think, in terms of Matt Eberflus being a defensive guy, not necessarily, the offensive play caller type situation that Buffalo, there's a little bit of a parallel there.
Yeah, for sure. I think that relationship has really evolved over time. At first, it was, Sean kind of being like, I don't know, for the lack of a better term, a dad, trying to coach him through his mistakes and work with him as just for the bigger picture stuff. But I think what we've seen from McDermott over the last couple of seasons, since Josh has really established himself as their franchise guy, is he's kind of pulled the reins off a little bit, where he's just kind of letting Josh Allen make it his team. And he's still the coach that handles all the minutia throughout the week, and helping to bring up game plan and motivating, everything along those lines. But that relationship, it's been good that he's kind of shifted it, rather than trying to be too controlling, so to speak. And I think that's been important to not only Allen, but to the rest of the players on the team, because even this past week, some of the guys were asked about it, and Stephon Diggs and I think Jordan Poyer have both kind of mentioned that, how it's shifted into this more player-driven locker room more than anything. And I think a big part of that has to do with what McDermott has done and how he has changed his overall mentality with it. So that quarterback situation is obviously a huge part, because if he's not great, then you're not exactly handling it that way, and you want to be more hands-on. But I think McDermott has done a nice job of evolving with Allen's progression all in all.
Let's go back to like when Stephon Diggs was traded. Like, what was the buildup before it? What was the expectation, I guess, going into that whole scenario? Like, could you see it coming? Because that's what we're trying to digest here now. I mean, the Bears made their move for Chase Claypool, but how can the Bears add a receiver? Like, what was the buildup before the Diggs trade for the Bills?
I mean, there was buzz all around it, because John Brown was good at the time, but he wasn't a one, and everybody kind of knew that. Cole Beasley was a slot receiver and productive back then, but he wasn't going to put them on the next level. I think everyone kind of knew that offseason they either had to draft one or they had to trade for one. And if you remember, that was the offseason that they very nearly traded for Antonio Brown. They definitely dodged one there. But I think they were definitely interested in the conversation, and it might not have been as close as it wound up looking like, but they were definitely interested. And Brandon Beane was meeting with big time agents around the combine. There was a lot of stuff that offseason. And then once Diggs started to, once it became really well known that Diggs, they were intent on moving him from Minnesota, that's when the Bills struck. And, there is some counter arguments about whether or not the Bills just should have stood pat and selected Justin Jefferson rather than trading for Stephon Diggs. But I think what they needed at that point in time was an established veteran who could come in and take over an offense immediately. And they probably weren't going to get that with rookie. As good as Justin Jefferson is, and he's going to be the best receiver in the league probably over the next 4 or 5 years here. But when they realized that Josh needed something immediately and they couldn't just depend on a rookie to do that, that's when the Diggs conversation really got real. And it was a home run trade for them, because he has been awesome. This past game, just as for instance, he was on the field for 67 out of 78 snaps. They averaged 7.2 yards per play. When he wasn't on the field, they averaged 1 yard per play. Like, that's how important this guy is to their overall offense. And they definitely have needed him throughout the years.
See, I don't mind their thought process at all, because there's some unpredictability with the draft. Like, you have you could, like, he could be the top player in your board in that range, but there is no guarantee that you're getting them.
No one would have thought Justin Jefferson would be this good. I mean, yes, he was a first round pick.
He'd be number one overall.
Right. He would have gone like how Jamar Chase went, top 5, top 3?
5, I think.
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and they didn't know who would be available. It was the 22nd pick. I mean, that receiver draft was kind of unpredictable. CD went a lot later than people expected. And then I think I remember reading the Vikings were just kind of hoping and praying that Jefferson would be there at 22, and he wound up falling to that point. And now he is what he is.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Diggs, I'm curious how much like Jalen Johnson is on the radar in Buffalo right now in this matchup, because Jalen is the top corner on the Bears. He's a pretty damn good player. I don't think he's quite in the conversation of like, you know, the top corners that you consider to be like a lockdown guy, but that is a storyline here in Chicago because he's got sort of this opportunity. Went against AJ Brown last week, and despite the numbers Brown put up, Jalen played pretty well. And then he's got Diggs this week, and Jefferson coming up in a couple weeks as well. So, I mean, how much is he discussed there in Buffalo in terms of this matchup against Stephon Diggs?
I mean, not by a ton of people here, just because I think there's an overall unfamiliarity with the Bears roster as a whole, just because they're 3-11 at this point. But when you put the tape on, you're like, who the hell is that guy? Like, he's great. I wrote down on my notes immediately, I'm like, 33 can freaking play, because I haven't watched a ton of Jalen Johnson, you know, not really grinding the Bears tape too often throughout the season, but,
Why would you?
but he's legit. And I think that secondary as a whole has played pretty well. And, you know, numbers notwithstanding, they against the Eagles, because the Eagles are just a dynamo on offense. When you see him running stride for stride with AJ Brown, I'm like, okay, that's really something. And I think that's translatable to what the Bills might be able to face. And I think he could be a big component of why this game is a lot closer than people might think. I mean, like I just pointed out with the Diggs stats, they are so dependent on him on the field. And it's not even just him being productive on the field, just being out there, because it takes attention from everyone else. And because outside of Diggs, they haven't really had a ton of consistent production. Gabe Davis hasn't been that guy, and Isaiah McKenzie has not really lived up to it. There's a reason why they went out and signed 2 players that they moved on from, because they thought that they weren't going to get more out of them in John Brown and Cole Beasley, and now they're back. So the receiver position has been a bit of a miss so far this season. And so I'm very intrigued to see how Johnson plays against Diggs and how the Bills will pivot if Johnson is able to lock in Diggs a little bit. But Diggs is good. Like, the underneath stuff and how he makes himself available. Like, if they're going to need a bigger plan than just Johnson for him. But, you know, all in all, I'm very excited to watch that matchup.
All right, Joe. Good stuff. We should let you go. You got a date with the fish man, and we're looking forward to hearing that on your side as well. Good stuff as always. We always love having you on. The Buffalo Beat is the podcast. Follow him on Twitter at Joe Buscaglia. Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Thanks, Joe.
Hey, with Masterclass, you can learn from the world's best minds anytime, anywhere, at your own pace. You could check out a songwriting class from John Legend. How about the power of personal branding with Kris Jenner? Using the voice as an instrument with Mariah Carey? Or Bob Iger teaching business strategy? Bob Iger in the news this week. There's cooking classes. There's tons of things you can check out with over 180 classes from a range of world-class instructors. That thing you've always wanted to do is closer than you think. I've checked out the ukulele classes in the past, really enjoyed that. Some of the barbecue classes out there, they're really helpful. And when you sign up, you get access to all of them, which is the coolest part. I highly recommend you check it out. This holiday, give one annual membership and get one free. So go to masterclass.com/firstdown today. That's masterclass.com/firstdown. And you'll be getting one membership free when you give one annual membership. Masterclass.com/firstdown. Terms apply. Hey, if you're like me, you're getting a lot of packages at your door every day right now with the holidays, but when the Omaha Steaks box arrives, there's nothing better. Give the best with the best steaks of your life from Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher since 1917. Perfectly aged, tender, unforgettable, and guaranteed delicious. The steak experts at Omaha Steaks have put together an assortment of various packages to make shopping for the ones you love nice and easy. Go to omahasteaks.com. Use code ADAM at checkout to get an additional $30 off your order. Send an assortment of mouth-watering favorites guaranteed to impress, like the legendary butcher's cut filet mignon, air-chilled boneless chicken, ultra-juicy burgers, and even easy-to-prepare comfort meals that are ready in a flash. Omaha Steaks is ready to ship your order right away. Head to omahasteaks.com. Use promo code ADAM at checkout. Omaha Steaks is a gift from the heart, a gift that will be remembered with every unforgettable bite. Order with complete confidence today, knowing you're ordering the very best. Visit omahasteaks.com. Use promo code ADAM. I'm telling you, when that box arrives, you see that meat that comes in there, you are going to be excited to throw it on the grill right away. I love it every time it shows up. Use promo code ADAM at checkout to get that extra $30 off your order.
Happy New Year! Now's the perfect time to grab some brand new comfy underwear, loungewear, or pajamas from Tommy John's end-of-year sale. Save up to 70%. When you start the year in Tommy John, you're that much more comfortable, so you can do everything better. Tommy John underwear, loungewear, and pajamas have dozens of innovations, like luxuriously soft tri-blend and micromodal fabrics with 4-way stretch, and there's no lint balls or fuzz. With over 18 million pairs sold and thousands of 5-star reviews, people love their Tommy Johns. That's why Tommy John's doesn't have customers, they have fanatics. When it comes to the underwear game at Team Hoge Jahns, once we tried on Tommy John's, there really was no other option. It's breathable, comfortable, gives you that security. Plus, all Tommy John underwear is covered by their no wedgie guarantee. This is Tommy John's final sale of the year. And like 2022, it's ending soon. So shop Tommy John's end of the year sale right now for up to 70% off at TommyJohn.com/athletic. Save up to 70% for limited time at TommyJohn.com/athletic. That's TommyJohn.com/athletic. See site for details.
Hey, it's time to knock that new business idea out of the park with Shopify, the all-in-one commerce platform to start, run, and grow your business. Forget the off-season work. Shopify makes it simple to sell to anyone from anywhere. Whether you're selling warm-ups or wall hangers, it's time to start selling with Shopify and join the platform simplifying commerce for millions of businesses worldwide. With Shopify, you'll customize your online store to your brand, discover new customers, and build the relationships that create die-hard fans. Shopify fields all the sales channels to grow a winning business, from an in-person POS system to an all-in-one e-commerce platform, even across social media platforms like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. And thanks to 24/7 support and free on-demand business courses, Shopify is on your team every step of the way. It's how every minute new sellers around the world score their first sale with Shopify, and you can too. Shopify is the secret to becoming a business champion by making it simple for anyone to sell their products anywhere, taking the guesswork out of selling. When you're ready to take your winning idea to the world, team up with Shopify, the commerce platform powering millions of businesses down the street and around the globe. Try out Shopify for free today. Start selling anywhere. Here's what you need to do. Sign up for a free trial at shopify.com/Adams. That's all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Adams. That's plural, to start selling online today. Shopify.com/Adams.
You know what, Adam? One thing that Joe said about Josh Allen taking like a game over, like when he said that, I thought about Justin Fields. Like Justin Fields hasn't, like he's produced those moments, like where he's the best player on the field. I think of the Dolphins game. Bears did not win it, but you literally had the opposing head coach telling your star quarterback to stop it.
Yeah.
Please stop it. That's how exciting he was in that game. He has taken over games and stretches, even with his arm at times. He's looking down the field when he's scrambling as well. So I think it's encouraging. It should be very encouraging and promising for what Justin Fields can become. There's things he has to work on. We all know that. They need to help him at receiver. That offensive line could have 3 new starters next year.
This week.
This week. But you still get that sense in quarters, in drives, and throughout like entire games where the Bears have the best player on the field. You may not get that this week with Josh Allen coming to town, but you'll see some flashes from Justin Fields. I believe you will.
How many times does the opposing coach tell Kirk Cousins to stop it?
Okay, I get it.
Okay.
You like that?
I don't like that. Get that guy out of there.
Somehow he's become my guy, and like I just feel like
Well, the best part about that is
overwhelming urge to defend the guy.
Well,
I can't keep sharing that GIF over and over and over.
But this goes
all
all
different angle.
The reason why this Kirk Cousins thing's so great is because this goes all the way back to when we used to record this podcast in my basement in Park Ridge, like first year of the pod.
Mm-hmm.
You loved Kirk Cousins on Washington.
Okay, love is a strong word here, but
yeah,
he showed potential. It's big games. He was for the quarterback star of Bears. Like Kirk Cousins has brought unique stability, like better stability than Jay Cutler provided the Bears for the Minnesota Vikings. Has he not?
Sure. He's fine.
Okay.
He's fine. Just like Taylor Heineke's fine in Washington. If I didn't have this star like franchise type quarterback and I needed to go, get that stability that you're talking about, yes, Kirk Cousins is somebody I'd want to have on my
that
team.
guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And same, I had a conversation with Jeff Joniak about this a couple weeks ago. Same thing with Taylor Heineke. Like, he's not great, but they want to play for him. I want a quarterback where the team wants to play for him, even if he's not the top guy. That's kind of hard to get in that category.
Yeah.
Because usually you get frustration. You get like guys wanting the ball and complaining when the quarterback's not great. But if you can get one who's not top tier, but they still want to go battle for him, I'll give Kirk Cousins that. Absolutely. Just get him the hell out of the Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl games. Get it right.
Pro Bowl games, whatever. All right, let's get to our 3 big questions.
Number one. Adam Hoge, your general thoughts on Justin Fields saying that he doesn't want to rush for 1,000 yards every season.
This might be my favorite thing he said all season. I wish he had taken it a step further, too. Because I knew what he was saying, and I wish he'd just been like, I don't want to rush for 1,000 yards every year because I want to throw for 4,000. And I don't think he wants to put that target out there, and I get that. But that's basically what he was getting at, right? Hopefully in the future, we don't have to run for as many yards because we can throw for more.
It's not that rushing for 1,000 yards is a bad thing. Just to clarify this, he's in some very special company. Not every quarterback can do what Justin Fields has done this season.
Right.
Very rare company. But yes, the development comes through the air for him.
Did you hear the other day when I asked him about keeping his eyes downfield, and how, because I feel like that's something he's gotten a lot better at. And I loved how his answer, he's like, yeah, the development's been good, but he immediately got into a pretty detailed answer about recognizing zone versus man. And how much more comfortable he's gotten in understanding when they're in man and their backs are to him, he's going to tuck it and run it.
Yeah.
But if they're in zone, like when he rolled out the other day and it looked like he was going to run, he recognized that the Eagles were in zone coverage, though. And so he kind of had it in his head he actually wasn't going to run. He was waiting for somebody to come open, and then Byron Pringle came wide open.
Wide open.
Like, that's good stuff. Like, that's the fact that he's able to process. And I know that's pretty simple, man versus zone, but it's just.
Well, it happens in a split second.
Right. And I think there's more pre-snap recognition that's going on, too. So I think that stuff's going to start to click. I think once even the late game moments you were just talking about, once he gets more help around him. There's been a lot. If you really watch the tape, there's been a lot to be excited about with him this year and how much better he's gotten.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. I love what he said about not wanting to rush for 1,000 yards.
Me too.
How about
I think the Bears
700?
Josh Allen has 700. Feels like a healthy amount.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue with this trade, like wide receiver trade conversation for a little bit. So entertain me here.
Ooh.
You can only trade for one. GM Adam Hoge.
Yeah.
DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy, or T. Higgins. Who is your pick for the Chicago Bears?
Are any of these guys ones? I don't know that I'm trading a first-round pick for any of these guys. And by the way, when I say first-round pick, no one's trading the top 2 pick.
No, any of these
I think
guys.
the only scenario in which that would play out in like a Stephon Diggs type trade is if you're able to trade back, accumulate an extra first-round pick or something like that.
What I will say is that as good as Stephon Diggs was over the first 5 seasons with the Vikings, like he became that superstar when he was paired with a superstar quarterback. Sorry,
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. He took it to another level.
Absolutely did.
Yeah.
Your pick?
I think Jerry Jeudy.
Me too.
Yeah, I think Jerry Jeudy is my answer. He's the youngest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And has somehow, with all that crap going on in Denver and not good quarterback play, has somehow gotten better this year, it seems like. I don't know why the Broncos are still on my TV so much, and they're going to be again. I think they're on national television 2 more times.
Are they one of the Christmas games?
They're one of the Christmas games, and then I think I want to say they're on again next week or something. It's bad. So, you can scout Jerry Jeudy, I guess.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if like it takes 2 to tango, right? And the compensation has to be right. In most cases, trades like this will lead to contract extensions. You just traded a very high second-round pick for Chase Claypool. Prepare for the potential possibility that the Bears are actually done adding at wide receiver until the draft. Just entertain that. Number 3.
I was wrong. They're on the Christmas game this week. Rams, late afternoon. Good opportunity to spend some time with your family. And then they play the Chiefs next week at noon, and then that Chargers game in Week 18 is TBA, like all the games are.
Gotcha. Number 3. Will we be talking about Justin Fields, the Pro Bowl games quarterback, at this point next year?
I'm going to actually give a pretty strong yes to this because I think there was already a case for him this year. And if the Bears are better, that's going to help. And there's still, unless there's a drastic shift, going to be way more quarterbacks in the AFC that are Pro Bowl worthy. Like, all due respect to Geno Smith and what he's done this year. Is he going to keep it up next year? Maybe.
Dak Prescott bounce back year?
Yeah, that's possible.
Jalen Hurts is going to be here every year.
Jalen Hurts is going to be there.
And I think Justin Fields, to further your conversation, your point, is going to be in this conversation every single year.
Yeah.
Just think, like you said, 3-11 team, 1,000 rushing yards, had a serious case. I understand why he's not in. But next year, considering all the things he did to increase his stardom and fandom this year, if he continues to improve next year, which we all think he will, yes, I think we're talking about Justin Fields being a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, I would make a strong bet on that.
And just so we're clear, I'm talking like not an alternate, like Pro Bowler from the start.
It's him and Jalen Hurts right now already in terms of who the best 2 young star quarterbacks are in the NFC. It's not even close. Those are the 2 guys you want. Except for you. You want Kirk Cousins too.
Moving on. Man. Over-unders. This is from TJ. Over-under set at 2.5 references to how the Bills are used to playing in this type of weather.
Over.
Over. Over.
They are, though. It's fair. Like, this is by far going to be Justin Fields' coldest game ever.
He's excited about it. I love how players get like I think it was a Tyreek Hill who was pumped up for that not so cold game the other day.
Okay, but did you see the Cole Kmet mic'd up video?
No.
I watched it last night.
Is it good?
It's pretty good, but it's also like I love these players because they're always like psyched up for the cold and like and then I don't know how many references there are in the 6-minute video to being, damn, it's freezing out here. He sits down on the heated bench. He's like, yeah, how's this feel? Oh, that's nice. You know, like don't think that they're not cold. They are cold.
Very much cold.
They're definitely cold. And if they had their choice, they'd much rather be playing in September where it's not cold. So, and he also made reference, Cole did, to saying that was his coldest game. Last week's game. So, and this was going to be a lot colder.
Yes. We're talking ice bowl conditions.
It's going to be about 15 degrees colder and a lot windier. That's not going to feel good.
All right, so here's the next part. This is from John. Over under and mentions set at 1.5 of the possibility of a dome stadium for the Bears. I'm gonna say you get 1.
That's interesting.
Would you count just any mention of a new stadium for the Bears?
Here's why I think it could come up, because Josh Allen earlier this week made reference to how the Bills are not building a dome and how I forget exactly what he said, but he basically said you're not tough enough if you have a dome. It's essentially what he was getting at.
That.
We're Buffalo tough.
Well, keep that in mind. His John's part 2 of his over-unders are how many mentions of bear weather, Buffalo tough, bear weather do we get? He said it at 2.5. We got a lot of these.
Yeah.
My request. First of all, this is like bear hibernation weather. So can we stop calling it?
Yeah, the Bears are asleep. They went to sleep a while ago.
And I feel like those Lovie Smith Bears lost a lot of games in that bear weather.
Yeah, don't get me down that road again. Bear weather is a myth.
Yes. I don't think you're getting 1.
Oh, I think you will.
Yeah.
Because so things people bring up, even though it is a myth.
The broadcast?
Well, that is the interesting. It's Greg Gumbel this week.
With Adam Archuleta. I don't think you get 1.
Well, Adam will probably make some reference to how he played in bear weather.
In bear weather. Oh, that's true. I forgot. Former Bear.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on.
Greg Gumbel had something. I heard this on the Bill Simmons podcast. Apparently, Greg Gumbel was calling. Who did the Panthers play last week? He was calling the wrong. He was calling the wrong quarterback, Sam Darnold, like half the game. We got one last week too, and now I'm forgetting it. One of in the Bears game.
Oh, someone tweeted at us.
Oh, the Steelers. Yeah. So he was calling
Trubisky.
He was calling Trubisky Sam Darnold. Something like that. Yeah. So that's like, yeah, what was the one last week? It was DeAndre Houston Carter.
Ah. It's like a Kurt Fuller.
Yeah.
All right. This is from Brendan from the Bears Wire.
Kendall Fuller is best when he's off and can break on the football.
All right, this is from Brendan, our friend from the Bears Wire. Over under on big thermometer shots being shown to show how cold it is. He's got 1.5. We're going over.
Yeah.
Over at least 3 or 4.
And they got to be the big ass ones.
Yeah.
Where do they even get those?
Special order. Amazon. Moving on. This is from Bears Fan 80. Over under on graphics, 1.5, comparing Fields in his second year to Josh Allen in his.
Yeah, there'll be one.
I agree. This is from Jake, who somehow tried to get us to talk about Sean Payton for some reason.
Oh,
Eberflus is not going anywhere.
no.
I'll just say that. Over under on times they bring up Justin Fields breaking the season rushing record for a QB, 1.5. I'm gonna say it goes over.
I wonder if that's the same Jake who on our CHGO show like spends money on a super chat like every show to bring up Sean Payton. It's relentless. I admire the commitment to it.
Actually, maybe it is Sean Payton.
Maybe it is Sean Payton. Yeah.
He needs the conversation to get going. It's not where he wants it to be.
Okay, so over under times they bring up Fields breaking the season rushing record for a quarterback, 1.5. I think this goes over.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is from Jackson. Over under on jaw-dropping plays from Justin Fields, 1.5. I'm going over.
Yeah, I'll go over it too. He'll get his, like he seems to do every week.
He'll have 2 scrambles that leave you impressed. I'm going to say 1 pass that cuts through the wind. Maybe even it's like a 20-yarder. We're just like, look at that arm strength.
All right. Can I ask you a fantasy football question? Seriously?
It's playoff time. Fine.
Okay. So, 2 QB league. Don't ask me how, but I ended up on my team. I have Josh Fields. Josh Fields. Wow.
Josh Fields.
I just did that. I do not have Josh Fields, ex-White Sox player who was a quarterback in his day.
Not
but
qualified.
Not in the NFL. Josh Allen, Justin Fields, and Trevor Lawrence. So I have to sit one of them.
You have to make that decision tonight too, right?
And I do. That's the other tricky thing because Trevor plays tonight against the Jets. Not a great matchup. But he's also been freaking out lately. Last week, I sat Fields. And I think that was the right move. Lawrence and Fields almost had identical points, so it ended up not mattering. I'm leaning, but here's what I didn't even realize this. Here's the respect Fields is getting to turn this into a Justin Fields conversation. If you look like at ESPN's fantasy football rankings and the way they have like their 6-7 analysts or whatever rank the quarterbacks every week, he's like 3rd. And Trevor's like 10th.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
How concerned are you about the weather?
A little bit, but yes and no.
That's going to cut into the production. Let's be
well,
honest.
Is it though? Because he gets all his fantasy points with his legs anyway.
Nobody throws a couple touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he's getting a Byron Pringle-like touchdown in this game.
True.
Don't. Like,
but he was also
he may get like the short ones.
But think about it. He was 1 inch away from having that touchdown run too.
It's true.
When he stepped out of bounds. So it's, I don't know. Especially with the Thursday game and Trevor going up against the Jets. Right now I'm leaning towards, I think I'm sitting Trevor Lawrence.
Actually, I would have maybe sit Josh Allen. Even though they're playing the Bears. Like, I think the touch, because you want the touchdowns. Let's be honest. You want the touchdowns. Like, it's going to be like Devin Singletary that scores on the Bears. Like, they could just run it straight at the Bears. Straight through them.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Jalen Hurts still had like 35 fantasy points against the Bears last week. And it's Josh Allen.
3 rushing touchdowns.
You can't sit Josh Allen in the playoffs.
It's true.
That's the type of decision where it's like, if he ends up having a dud of a game, I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, why'd I do that? If I sit him and he freaks out, then it's like, you're just the dumbest fantasy football player.
See, I think Justin Fields, I almost said Josh Fields. Justin Fields is going to have more attempts and yards than Josh Allen. It's the touchdowns that you're thinking about, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing, is the total number of points down because of the weather. I don't know. I still think points get scored. I think to me, it's far more likely that there's fewer points in this game tonight between the Jaguars and Jets.
Okay.
Just because the Jets defense is good.
The Jets defense is good.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for.
Entertaining you.
Well,
Well, here's the fantasy football scenario in the Johns household.
okay.
So in the 5th grade fantasy football league, my second son plays up with his
What is
brother's
this
friends.
travel baseball? What are we talking about here?
He plays up with his older brother's friends, and he won the regular season title.
Oh, so he's playing like 10U fantasy football now.
Yes. He's an 8-year-old playing up a 10U fan. So, but he won the regular season title, and
That's awesome.
his older brother finished 2. So if they win in the playoffs, they'll meet in the championship game, and I don't want to be around them.
Oh my God.
Like
I kind of do.
Yeah, it's going.
I kind of actually find that very entertaining and want to watch. I almost want like a live stream of that.
My oldest will scream at that television, like at Josh Allen, thinking that Josh Allen can hear him, like pass the Diggs. Like it's pretty entertaining, you know.
Hey, that'll probably be me
Yeah.
too on Saturday.
All right.
Throw it to Diggs.
Oh, yeah, and he gets upset when it's like Isaiah McKenzie gets like the touchdown, like Diggs gets him all the way down. The McKenzie gets the touchdown.
Oh, yeah. It's the worst. You know how many times I've dealt with that with Tony Pollard this year?
Yeah. Poaching touchdowns.
And then they just give it to Zeke. Damn it. All right. Let's get to our predictions here. This is a CBS game. Keep that in mind. Noon Saturday, Bills at Bears. And the Bears, it's down to an 8-point spread now. Bears 8-point underdogs.
Yeah, it was 9 when I filed this last night. Down to 8. Bold predictions. I'm gonna say a Khalil Herbert touchdown. I don't know why that's bold, but he's back from injury.
Yeah, that helps. That is the one area where I'm a little worried that like there's gonna be so many carries between Montgomery and Herbert that
you're talking like 30.
That Fields' production goes down. Maybe. I'm gonna say Bills 30, Bears 20.
Okay. Oh, Bills cover.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 27-20 Bills with the Bears. Oh, that involves maybe some wacky score because I don't think field goals are going to be kicked in this one. Say 25-19 Bills.
Okay. I mean, look, I had the Bears covering last week. They did. But I think it's somewhere around there. Oh. And I didn't do my bold prediction.
Bold predictions.
By the way, I can't believe we haven't been called out for this, but in your absence last week, I did a Cole Kmet touchdown in your honor.
Oh, thank you.
And that's probably why you only had 4 catches and did not score. So, how about this?
Scoring this week.
Jalen Johnson interception.
Okay.
I think that's would only be the second of his career. Do I have that right?
Yeah, he doesn't have many.
And but I think he plays well again, and I think he gets an interception. Josh Allen will throw some picks. It happens. All right, wacky weekend of games. Just like last week, there's games pretty much every day, but Friday should be a fun weekend of games. We start tonight. Amazon Prime, 7:15. Kind of a sneaky fun game, in my opinion. Jaguars at Jets. The Jets are a 1.5-point home favorite.
Enjoy watching this game, Bears fans. You know why? I just for once, isn't it like refreshing where the conversation about the wrong pick at quarterback is not?
Yeah.
Like we knew Trevor Lawrence was going to be good. That made too much sense. But Zach Wilson at 2. Enjoy this game, Bears fans. I'm taking the Jaguars winning outright.
I am too. You know, last week when they announced that Zach Wilson was playing and Mike White was out, I could not have jumped faster to pick the Lions. And I feel the same way about this one. Jaguars, like the Lions, are playing better football. They're getting better as the season goes along. Trevor Lawrence is turning into a stud right now. The quarterback matchup in this game is not even close. And especially with the Jaguars getting points, even though it's only 1.5 points, I'm definitely taking the Jaguars.
I'd like to see him get his hands on more balls.
Fox noon, Giants at Vikings. Just like last week against the Colts, the Vikings are 4-point home favorites.
Give me the Giants to cover, but Vikings by a field goal.
Interesting.
You like that?
I guess. Yeah, the Vikings like to play close games. So I don't know. I do like the Vikings to win. They managed to win most of them. They are at home, but yeah, 4 points is a little too much for me.
Y'all stay corona free, all right? And God bless.
Fox noon. Lions at Panthers. Lions favored in this one. Panthers 2.5-point home underdog.
Give me the Lions by a touchdown.
Yeah, I think this game could be tricky, but the Lions have been good against the spread lately. They've been handling it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Lions too.
Culture, history, spaghetti. These are the things of a boot country called Italia. Hello, I'm Joe Romano of Romano Tours. For 2 generations, my family has provided high-quality tours of Italy to people from all over the world, but mostly Long Island and Jersey.
Shout out to our guy Joe Romano. I saw him tweeting at us earlier this week. He's a good man.
Great.
By the way, our
He's got to be all sort of pumped up about his Wolverines.
yeah, fine.
J.J. McCarthy, Chicago suburban kid.
Yeah,
No, okay.
Nazareth.
Fine.
No, he's
Yes.
been good player. All right. By the way, our totals now. I don't know how you weaseled your way out of so many picks. We both have 40 correct picks. The difference is you only have 24 losses and I have 35.
Called having a 4th kid and taking some time off.
Yeah, I guess, but there's something else
Yeah. The
is
math
off
is
in
off.
there.
Did I miss another one?
I guess. So you're hitting at 61%, which is incredible. I'm at 53, which is still good. Here's a remarkable thing. Kevin Fishbane, we talked about this last week when he was on, is still been amazing against the spread and leading this massive fun pool that we're in. 1-6 against the spread and picking games on Hoge Jahns.
Really?
Yeah, he did not have a good week last week when he filled in for you. So that's, although he did say at the time, he's like, I'm probably going to change all these by Sunday. Fair enough. All right, Fox 335. Good one. By the way, these games are all Saturday so far. Well, except for the Thursday night one we did. So 335, your late afternoon game on Christmas Eve when the Bears game is over. It is Eagles at Cowboys. Gardner Minshew likely playing for the Eagles in this game. Cowboys, because of that, are a 5-point favorite. I think the Cowboys, though, were favored even when Jalen Hurts was slated to play earlier in the week.
I think it was just 3, though, like the home field spread.
But isn't that weird?
Cowboys are good.
They are, but they just lost to the Jaguars. I don't know. Look, I think the Eagles are a machine right now. I think they're a really good team. I think Gardner Minshew is good enough to come in there and keep that thing moving. Yeah, and cover. So, yeah, I think the Cowboys maybe win this game in the end, but 5 points is too many for me. I'm taking the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm with you. Eagles cover. Cowboys, maybe game-winning field goal down there in Arlington.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Lock up the Eagles. All right, Christmas Day, your early game, noon, Fox, Packers, and Dolphins. Boy, this would have been a cold one if it was in Green Bay, but it's down there in Miami. Dolphins are a 4-point favorite.
Give me the Dolphins by a touchdown. Lock it up if you want.
Ooh.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Yeah, I'll take the Dolphins too.
You, Aaron Rodgers.
Nice way to end this show.
Go Bears.
Yeah, well, especially with that nonsense with Kalen's story.
Yes, please read Kaler's story on Aaron Rodgers and his numerous hand signals that he doesn't want to teach anybody.
We had a long discussion about this, by the way, yesterday on the CHGO show. And I haven't caught up on all of it, but I did see Kalen's tweet. Like, Pat McAfee kind of apologized to her and then still went on the show yesterday and ripped apart the story.
Yeah, well, Aaron's his guy. It is what it is, but read the story. It's very good.
It's really good journalism. And I also
it's not like unnamed source journalism. It's players who have played for the Packers on the record talking about being a rookie receiver working with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if Aaron has a problem with it, he should have a problem with the players and former teammates and current teammates that said what they said.
It's current ones.
Not the reporter who put it together.
Yeah. Jordan Love and Randall Cobb are quoted in that story.
Weird. So it is interesting, though. Anybody who's watched the Packers over the years see all these hand signals that Rodgers uses, and I don't know. I'm interested in that. I think it's a great topic, and it's been
what we
confusing
need is the Houston Astros to watch the film of Aaron Rodgers and decipher it for us.
Oh, they could figure it out.
They can figure it out.
Banging trash cans and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next time they play the Bears, you just see some guy in the sidelines going.
Yeah.
Watch out for the deep end.
Yeah. All right. Good show. We need to get out of here. Long show. Thanks to Joe for jumping on with us. We appreciate it. We'll be back Saturday evening at some point.
Yeah, probably a very tight episode, but we'll get one out there for you.
Yeah, we'll react after the game, and so make sure you are subscribed on YouTube. Hit the notification so you know when we go live on Saturday, because it could vary depending on a lot of stuff going on. So you get those notifications, you'll know when we go live. Hit that like button too if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening the old school way as a podcast, we appreciate you. Please rate and review the pod. Most importantly, tell a friend. You can read Johnsy on The Athletic. You can read me at allchgo.com. We're out of here. We'll talk to you Saturday after the game. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, everyone. See ya.